What's going on out there, YouTube? This is Samuel Leggett representing JVS. We are here for probably the most epic cartoon review that we'll ever do. And I want to thank Cartoon Network for allowing us to be able to screen Steven Universe, the movie. So, I've just give you a little backstory. The past few years, probably since 2015, or maybe a little bit earlier than that, I've known about Steven Universe, and I started watching it, and I started getting engaged in it, and then I started binging it on Hulu, and I was like, man, this first season has so many episodes. And then I started getting intrigued by the characters. I started telling other people about it. I started learning more about the progression of who Steven Universe is, who his mother was, what has happened to, you know, his past, who are the diamonds, who are the real crystal gems, and what is the future of Steven Universe. And now I can say that now we take place 2 years later. Steven now is 16 years old. He is fully aware of himself. He is starting something very new with the gems that he knows from home, homeward gems, and everything pretty much is what he would say his happily ever after. Now, I just want to give a quick shout out to, again, not just Cartoon Network, but Rebecca Sugar. Thank you so much for giving us such an amazing, impactful, and beautifully articulated character in Steven and his world. Rebecca Sugar actually blessed me and my wife with a video message that was basically kind of encouraging us and thanking us and just like wishing us best wishes with our son. Like, he was literally being born on the same exact day we got that message. We were supposed to be interviewing her that same exact day. We also were able to interview Magno, who plays the role of Pearl. We were able to interview Michaela Dietz, who plays the role of Amethyst, and we also were able to interview Estelle, who plays the role of Garnet. And so, as well as Zach Callison as Steven Universe, of course. And over the years, like, we've come to love these characters so much, and I think that this movie pays tribute to anybody that has watched from the beginning until the end. You're gonna notice so many different refinements. There were moments that I was kind of like, whoa, this is a callback to the episode when Greg, you know, was feeling a little bit apprehensive about when Amethyst was going and deciding to change into, you know, rose quartz. There's a reference where with Garnet, when you first find out that Sapphire and Ruby were Garnet, and how their beginning started when, you know, they told the story to Steven and how they came to be. Like, there's a callback to that. There's so many different amazing callbacks for those people that are invested. But I will say, for those people that have never seen Steven Universe, this will pique your interest. This will make you very engaged and like, okay, this is actually pretty cute. It's pretty cool. I would say personally, though, that this is a musical first before it is a story progression. Like, this isn't like, don't look for this to be like, okay, we're gonna push the envelope to season 6, because we don't really know where that's gonna go, and this movie doesn't try to push to that. It's more so about the heart and soul about what Steven is trying to be now and who he's stuck in being. And I think it's very fascinating because the very opening of it, he's met with some people that he's kind of like apprehensive about kind of helping and they just really want him to go and do something, but he's like, no, I just want to be with my friends, I just want to be with my family, I want to get back home. And of course, you know, his relationship with Connie, his relationship with the gems, like, it's the most important thing to him in his life right now, and he's fully realized he's got it all. And lo and behold comes this amazing, insane villain. One thing I'll say about the villain that I thought was so fascinating is that they talked around the idea of gems being shattered, like physically. We've seen gems get poofed. We've seen, you know, in Change Your Mind, when, like, legit, Steven had the gem pulled out of him and what that did to him and how he almost died from that. And then the ramifications of what it would be like a soulless gem without Steven. We've seen that. But what we haven't seen a gem that's so far emotionally damaged that what they would be truly capable of. Because make no mistake, this is probably the most violent and dangerous gem that I think they've ever come across, for several different reasons that I cannot say in this, because this is a spoiler-free review. Now, I will say, in a week and a half from now, once the movie is released and everything, I will go back and do a spoiler, because there's so much epicness that I just cannot say, and I will not say because it's worth getting surprised over. One thing I will say, though, again, temper your expectations. Don't look for getting these answers to this and getting these answers to that, because there was a couple different things. I was like, oh, well, we're going to get, like, what's going to happen with the character like Jasper or something like that, or what's going to happen with, you know, Lars and the off colors. Now, which these characters may be in this movie, and some of them may not be, but this is not what this really truly is about. This is about more so what Steven is dealing with this threat that threatens to eradicate everything that he loves, physically and emotionally. And I think that that's one of the most fascinating things, because at the end of the movie, one of the things that refines Steven to a place that I don't think he's ever gotten to is the place that a hero gets to when he realizes who he has to be is not, like, who he has to be is more important than what he wants to be. And I think that that's one of the most interesting facts about, you know, being a man, being a woman, like being a grown-up, being an adult, is that there are things and responsibilities that you have to do in order to fine-tune and fashion the environment around you. And I think that he embraces that perfectly. And I think Zach Callison does some really good voice acting, because this is the deepest his voice has actually been. But at the same time, he has to allow Steven to shine through. And there was never a moment that I didn't think that this wasn't our Steven. I thought that this is just Steven struggling through something completely different. Matter of fact, there's this one amazing moment in the third act where Steven just kind of breaks down. There's two different moments. There's one moment at the very end where he just kind of breaks down and he just starts to reflect, like, how is this happening? Why did this come to this point? How did I get to this point? And then there's another moment where something amazing and crazy happens, and the way he comes out of it, he's just all the way gone. And I think it's very fascinating the way they animated it and the way they did it. There's definitely some dark themed things that do happen in this one. It's very fascinating. But at the same time, they do pull their punches with a couple different things. And I thought that there was one thing that happened, and you've seen it in the trailers, is when it comes to the villain and their attack on Earth. I personally thought that they could have went and pushed it even further with certain things. Like, I mean, I know, you know, if you are a longtime fan, you know about the cluster, you know about, like, the different things that's happened with Earth before. And they don't really try to go into a lot of those different things, but they do add some very fascinating things as well. Now, fusions. There are some amazing fusions in this movie. Some I wanted that I didn't get, and then some that I did not expect that I couldn't believe. And I think that you're gonna love it, because Rebecca Sugar, one of the things that she is so amazing at is not only animating and bringing out life out of characters and using character development and progress, but using amazing sound and musical scores and themes. And I think that my top few, it would be Is It Love? Estelle does this one in a specific moment for Garnet that I thought was very fascinating. Change, that Zach Callison does, I think that he sings it so beautifully. Who We Are, I'm not going to say who sings it, but this is definitely a favorite for me. Drift Away. This is actually one of my top ones. I think that one is the most refining, character developed song that Rebecca has ever made. Like, seriously. True Kind of Love, which most people have heard, I loved. And then Independent Together. Oh, I loved it. I don't know who wrote it. I don't know who produced it or who sung it. I know who wrote it, but yeah. So those are some of my top songs. You can go and definitely check out the soundtrack. Soundtrack is available right now: iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, or Amazon Music. But one of the things I'll say is that there's some things that happen to the Crystal Gems and to Steven that I didn't expect. And what it did was it allowed. That's why I said this caters to people that had never seen it before, as well as people that did see it before, because there's certain things that happen to the gems that do callbacks to all the certain things that they've gone through in a animation kind of moment that's so beautiful. Is one thing that happens with a fusion that I was like, this is amazing. This is so hard to talk about without going in spoilers, because I have so many notes, like you just don't know. Like I'm scrolling, these are notes, and I'm gonna have to go through a spoiler review, because I would say that one thing I would hope that they eventually do when they release this out on Blu-ray and DVD, I hope they do release it out on Blu-ray and DVD, make a karaoke version. Because one of the times I was sitting there watching, I was like, man, I would love to follow along with this for the music, because the themes and the wording, it bodes well for repeated viewing. Matter of fact, after watching it a second time, I liked it so much more, because the first time I'm just trying to figure out what the heck happening, what's going on, my expectations, like they're being tempered. Then when I realized what was really happening, what the central focus was, I was able to really, truly enjoy this musical, because I love musicals, and if you love musicals, you're gonna love this as well. Man, I can't really talk about much. What else can I talk about? Talked about the singing. Oh, animation. There's an interesting dance number that happens, I want to say around the first and second act, that I thought was a really well done animation. The fights are pretty in your face, and I think they're animated really well. I would say that the closing of season 5 of Steven Universe, some of the animations that happen in that, specifically when Steven kind of like merges in with himself, is some of the best animation I think they've ever done. They don't have those kind of many moments like that. I would have liked for them to, given the circumstance, this being his first movie, but maybe we'll see something like that progressionally in a 6th season. I am praying for a 6th season. Do they leave things open? I'm not going to say to you. I would just say that this is a specifically focused film that caters to those lovers and those that are just intrigued by musicals specifically. And it's a love letter to Steven Universe, and at the same time, it goes beyond just a coming of age, because that's what Steven Universe as a show is, a coming of age story. This is the progression of Steven as a man and doing what he has to do, and putting not just others ahead of himself, but his responsibilities ahead of what he's supposed to be. And I think that's one of the things that I think that they executed very well, especially my second time watching it. But at the same exact time, thinking about like some of these characters that have been done wrong in their past, and what that does to reflect on their mental psyche and who they are, their anxieties, their emotions. I think that they identified that perfectly well in parallel and in tandem to Steven with the villain. Because I think that one of the things the villain says is that, you know, you've been able to change for the better. And I was completely opposite of that. And this is who we are, you know what I'm saying? But again, there's some great music. This is a great callback letter. If you're a lover of Steven Universe, you're going to enjoy it. But make sure you realize this is a musical first, not a positioning for all these other things that you have expectations for. Take your expectations, throw them out, and just enjoy what this is. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. I will talk to you guys later. I will definitely be making a spoiler-filled review for Steven Universe, the movie. And if you didn't know, you gotta believe. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Make sure you definitely subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell button. Make sure you leave a like. Leave a comment. Are you excited for this? Are you hyped for it? What are your thoughts? Also leave a couple different things so I can talk about it in spoiler review. Peace, guys.